What?
Cut, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was funny. I like that.
Yeah, that's the point. That's how you know it starts.
Yeah.
It's not in the video, though.
Oh, it's not?
No, because then it's annoying. It's bad.
No, that's fair. Okay.
Can't break their headphones. Headphones broken. Pins and needles.
Pins and needles. Boots and pants and boots and pants.
Right.
Boots and pants and boots and pants.
We're back again. I forgot my headband again. So enjoy the shine off of my head.
Yeah.
I'm like Krillin.
Well, at least, hey.
Solar flare.
Solar flare on the forehead.
Solar flare.
I think that's one thing we both have in common. We have incredibly large foreheads.
It's true. I'm
Yours
bordering on a Jessica Negri 5 head at this point.
Yeah, mine's actually just a 5 head.
Yeah.
I think. Hold on. Yeah, 5 head.
You're looking very much like Sakura over there, yes. How come she never had a sick headbutt attack with that 5 head?
Because Kishimoto's a terrible writer.
Oh, so tragic.
By the way, we mean Kishimoto, the one who does Naruto, not the Kishimoto who does Opart's Hunter, Blazer Driver, Mad Chimera World, and all the other wonderful...
That's the handsome Kishimoto, according to him, even though they're twin brothers. Yeah. Which means it must be true.
It must be true.
It must be true, right?
The better of the two mangaka.
Right.
Oh, well.
So enough rambling, you know, now that it's day 10 billion of the quarantine.
Day 10 billion. We're excited that they're finally starting to open things up again. I'm excited for our, you know, we're going to flatten the curve and it's going to go immediately back up again because we don't learn our mistakes ever.
No, it's not about learning your mistakes. It's about the freedom to willfully ignore what you've learned. That's what America's about.
That's true, because we also have, because apparently
I love it.
This is the same thing that happened during the Spanish flu, where they let up, you know, restrictions on quarantining and all that crap, and then World War I ended, and then they had the whole celebration. Everyone was partying and shit, and then everyone got Spanish flu again, and then people started dying again. So that's what we're gonna get this coming summer.
So I'm excited for the party.
Yeah.
And we're going to start the video. Let's see, because this week I decided that I'm still trying a new thing where I show some real-time footage, just so you can kind of get a hang on it. I still haven't learned to white balance this yet at the beginning, where you sketch with the incredibly light blue pencil.
I mean, it needs to be light.
Yeah.
So I can, you know, keep going and not mess up.
No, I know. It's just like you can barely see it at the beginning. It's always like that.
Yeah. And then watch this, yeah.
I'm gonna change my, Yeah, he always breaks the lead. The lead budget is ridiculous. He'll probably snap like 10 more off before we even start speeding up.
Right, I'm excited. Let's see.
Right.
We should have a counter for how snaps
Oh my
the lead.
god, I'm gonna add that counter in the next video. That's so true.
Because I'm pretty sure the one after this had a lot of snapped lead.
Oh my god.
It also doesn't help that it says that it's 0.7 lead. And the pencil itself says it takes 0.7, yet the lead always just slides right through. So I don't know if 0.7 in blue is different from 0.7 in black.
I can only hope so.
It's frustrating.
It's like putting together a Mars satellite. You know, someone has this measurement, someone has this measurement, no one double checks, thing explodes.
I remember now what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That was for the Mars lander.
I don't know if it was the lander. I know there was like multiple satellites where that happened.
I just remember that one of the things was that it was measured in
one of them was metric and one of them was
in American.
Standardized? Was it imperial measurements?
I don't know. I just call it American because I think American's the only one that uses that metric.
Probably.
But yeah, they measured in metric, and then instead of, you know, landing perfectly on the ground of Mars, it went in about 10 feet. 10 feet.
Smashed up.
So always remember to check your math.
Yeah, right.
Check your geography.
Check your geography.
Well.
So what are we watching today? This one looks pretty good so far.
You only say that because this was your technically idea.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Because I'm a genius.
Obviously. So this character is the smith of this world that forged all of the sacred weapons, sacred items of this world. It's supposed to reflect that it's not any one smith that's doing it. It's supposed to be a sort of...
it's like a line, a lineage.
A lineage of, smiths, and each one of them brought about
that's why there's no specific face.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's got the bandana that's covering the face as well, for the most part. We also... one of the things that... because it's a fantasy world, so you have to have a smith character of some kind.
It always helps, yeah.
One of the things that we talked about, too, when we brought up this character, or at least Wes brought up, I don't remember how much this conversation was me and all.
None of it.
No, probably
None of it, I'm a genius.
It's true.
No, what I really wanted was to show the, like, passion and the dedication to a craft as a blacksmith. Because most of the time, any blacksmith picture is like man with hammer, sexy woman with hammer, anvil, hammer, sexy time, or a dwarf who is also sexy with hammer time.
Look, all dwarves are sexy.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, who is also sexy.
It's fair. I just feel like it's redundant if you say it.
No, it's extra clarification.
Okay, I guess, whatever floats your boat. But yeah, no, so this one was, he gave me a picture of a Japanese swordsmith that was kind of eyeballing the folding on the katana, things like that, and it kind of inspired the idea to have the
originally it was going to have a bunch of swords being drawn out of their hair like that, because we've kind of got a theme of things being manifested through hair
and inspiration
on a lot of these.
Yeah, and this one because of the idea of it being coming out of the head being inspiration.
Yeah, so it's like, and it's also meant to be like an Excalibur reference, like
right?
Sword out of stone, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but then we, since we started talking, as we further got into the illustration, we started talking about how there would probably be items that are sacred, or
you can see we drew out a bunch of cool weapons.
Yeah, trying to get an idea of what would be powerful weapons or sacred relics, things like that are known throughout this region. So, and we wanted to incorporate that into this because
every mythology has like really powerful weapons. And things like
that. Especially because we were looking through a lot of Celtic mythos for this one again, and they have a massive amount of
bunch
weapons.
Of cool stuff. Yeah, it's really sweet.
So there was also a few since this is again more Arthurian Celtic mythos. If you look through all of that, his story, they all have weapon names, even besides Excalibur, Caliburn, and all of that crap. There's a bunch of different weapons that were referenced in this, in the Arthurian legend, as well as in Celtic mythos, things like that. And you want to kind of try to keep everything together. Yeah, so also what's nice too is that you'll see these weapons here, and what we wanted to do is make sure that you saw them as well in other illustrations that are going to come up. Because since they're so important, you want them to be able to be seen in one image, and then you'll go to the next image and be like, oh, I remember this.
Yeah, it helps create a story. Yeah. It makes the world like it's more than one thing. So there's a lot going on.
We've talked about it before in the Pontiff video too, but this is something that we just wanted to, in each illustration, kind of hammer into everybody to understand that this world is interconnected.
It's very connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, not one thing. It's not one of those fantasy worlds where it's like there's one culture and everyone does a thing.
Yeah.
This is a very widespread. There's
interconnected culture.
A lot of interconnected, like things from the past show up in things from the future, and you don't really know the timeline of all these pictures either.
Yeah, that's because that's not really the point of understanding the timeline, because there's no I don't want to say there's no actual plot.
Yeah.
In the sense of the word. There are characters, and this is a world that exists around them, and you kind of get the idea of the relationships everything has, because everything's interconnected, but you also get an understanding of who does what, who's motivated by what do they like, how does this world kind of just function in the sense of the word. It's not more about like, okay, here's the main character, and they're on a quest to go get X, and then you don't really know about anything around them aside from the main character. We talk about that a lot with storytelling, specifically because we always talk about how great One Piece is. Yeah. Because One Piece is really good about having a lot of characters, and even when they're off screen, they're doing something. So this world is very much like that, where we want to have, even if you see this illustration, you see all this crazy stuff inside of it, you're it's not really pinpointing any one time period, and then also it's at the same time like while this is happening, you have the feeling that something else is happening on the side.
Definitely.
Like, because case in point, we'll have characters that are going to be using these weapons and things like that, and you'll be like, okay, so those characters had this weapon, where did that weapon come from? Well, obviously this long line of smiths made it, but then we'll have illustrations that kind of talk about what they were originally for, and then a little bit of lore written with it about what each one does. And then some of this, the lore will come into the action that the picture is showing. Yeah. So, like, we'll get to that when those illustrations come up. But again, one of the things we talk about for this series is that magic is very prevalent in this world. Yeah,
and magic comes from a lot of different places. So these weapons are actually made, there are these lizards that are born from, like, these mountains in the, what is that, the eastern side, right?
Yeah,
yeah, it's on the eastern continent. Yeah. So they just are like fire and rock. They're like living fire and rock, and they're very important to this culture that this smith is from. So you can see like the lizards on the shoulder, on the little pauldron things, and the metal that these are made from is their heart.
Yes.
It's from the heart of these lizards, and no one can craft with this metal except the people from this line of smiths. It's like very magical. So it's some tough shit to deal with.
Right. And one of the other things too is that as we're getting to inking this character, I wanted this character to be old.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff we talk about too in terms of doing art as well is getting good reference. And this character was referenced from what culture?
I believe it's like Kuniari. They're a culture from near Tibet. They're like in the top part of India. I think somewhere in there. I have it on my computer. I can bring it up in 2 seconds. You might hear some clicking. But yeah, so they're from northern India, and I really liked their outfits, and I thought they looked really cool. I'll show some pictures of them in the video while I'm talking about them right now. I'm trying to find the reference folder for this. Got my beautiful women folder.
Wow, this is a whole new side of you I've never seen.
Yeah, right. Who knew?
It's so organized too.
It's Kinaru.
Kinari?
Kinari? I'm not sure. I'll put it on the screen.
It's Kinari.
Yeah, Kinari. I'll put it on the screen. They're really cool. They have some really cool outfits.
Yeah.
They're the inspiration for this tribe that live in the mountains, and they fight these cool fire lizards, and they have a culture of making like a lot of cool jewelry, things like that.
As you can see too, like this person's headpiece, the bandana, there's a little symbol on the front, not the eye symbol, but the little necklace that goes around the bandana. That little icon there is also on the necromancer.
Yes.
So again, a lot of the cultural stuff does seem to travel from east to west, north to south, all that stuff.
Yeah, characters have a lot of involved history with the world.
Yes.
Things like that. But yeah, I wanted to use them because I thought their outfits looked really cool. They have a lot of neat stuff.
Plus, it's another one of those things that never gets used.
So a lot of, unexplored culture.
Yeah, because again, what's really interesting when you talk about like, oh, this character is referenced from a small village in India. And when someone says India, they have a very immediate thought of what that looks like. And then you're like, well, actually, it's pretty different.
It's very different, yeah.
You'd be surprised how many other cultures there are around specific areas, and if people, kind of try to get a little intellectual curiosity on that sort of stuff, you'll be able to find that there's a lot of great places to steal ideas from and appropriate to your own cultures.
Right.
Just saying.
You're inspired, not appropriating them. It's fantasy.
No,
it's fiction.
I'm just making.
I know.
I'm just making a joke.
Yeah,
people do
it's
that
funny
all the time.
Yeah.
But to be fair, though, culture itself is what is it? It is that really, though.
Yeah, it's meant to. Spread.
Yeah, it's just weird though because
what it does.
We always take cultural appropriation such a negative connotation nowadays, but it's interesting because that sort of thing is actually how people grow as individuals. I don't know how to describe it other than that.
I mean, there's a reason we use Arabic numerals.
Yeah,
almost everywhere.
Exactly.
That's it. That's just something that is picked up from most Western cultures. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
So, and we also decided we wanted to make this character older because I just thought, I like the wisdom. Because, again, it fits with the dedication to the craft.
Yeah, and it also gives you an idea that this has been done a long time. Like, there's a whole feeling of, time, effort, of...
History.
History, that's the word.
Yeah, history. Is this person the student, the master, things like that. Where it's... it's really cool. That's it. You don't want to... It gets boring if you just put a bunch of big titty bitches and stuff all the time.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with big titty bitches. Don't get us wrong.
There's nothing wrong with it.
But gosh, yeah, it does get a little...
It can get a little boring.
It gets a little dull.
Yeah.
And what's funny is I'm using that little thing there, and then I look off to the side, and look, my ruler.
Yeah, the
right
ruler
over there.
is right there.
The fucking...
Yeah. No, he's a genius. Skeleton brain all day. There he goes.
I'm so dumb.
Facing his greatest enemy, straight lines.
Right? Even with the fucking ruler and that other piece we did, I still managed to fuck up the line. How?
Yeah.
How?
No, just think about that while you're watching this. He can do a bunch of stuff, but he cannot draw a straight line to save his life.
No.
Don't even get me started on if you have to break the line up. The second the straight line is broken up, it becomes exponentially harder.
It's tough, man. I live in it's the fucking rough world out there, man.
Right.
I don't know what to tell you. I got nothing.
He's got nothing.
Brain don't work.
Mm-hmm.
Brain can't do straight lines, I guess.
Nope. But yeah, I really like the way the fire looks too.
Yeah.
The fire gives it a really cool kind of almost
Naruto feel?
Japanese, yeah. It was like Okami or Naruto or
well, it's because again, like the image that you gave me was a very Japanese
katana,
you know, and it was a Japanese man who was doing it originally. So it kind of just, you know, like, oh, I should probably kind of lean into that too. Again, with the borrowing from different cultures sort of thing to get an idea of everything. Plus,
it just works with the mysticism.
Yeah, and it looks more mystical. The way that the smoke and fire kind of coming off of it kind of feels. And also, fun fact, this is a very heavily referenced stone piece as well that I'm working on right now. That's why the texturing looks so good.
Yeah.
It's trying to get the everything to look realistic. Because whenever you do fantasy, you always want to have some sort of ground in reality. Because this is a very fantastical, whimsical kind of image, but you need to have at least some levels of reality in it so that people can
connect.
Thank you. Gosh.
Yeah, you have to be able to connect to some part of it so that you can see it.
Brain don't work.
It's all right, man. Don't worry. There's the first one down. Let's see what we can get after this. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Restart the camera.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
There we go. We're back.
We're gonna really need to get a camera.
I should set my phone up. Oh, I have that webcam thing to set my phone up. We're gonna do that for the next one.
Next one, yeah.
We'll see how it looks.
Yeah, for result.
I don't know how the quality on my phone is.
Probably bad, but still.
We'll try it though. Slowing it down here so you can get a little bit of this brush action.
Yeah. One fun thing to do is just to, if you work on a large piece of paper, you can also get test your brush.
Use the margins.
Yeah. And also you see me like holding my hand like this so I can make sure I keep a steady swirl effect. It's really hard to keep steady. My wrist is super janky.
It's all the cocaine. Tons of it.
All that cocaine, yeah, sure. Man.
No.
Sure.
You need to smoke a cigarette like Solid Snake.
Yeah. Man, yeah. Gosh, don't remind me how much I miss cigarettes. Sorry, whenever
my old love.
Yeah, right. Whenever we went into quarantine and it was getting kind of stressful, I was at a grocery store and I went to the checkout line that had the cigarettes behind the counter and I was like, man, I haven't smoked since 2014.
Oh man, if you came back with cigarettes, I would not be fucking happy, I'll tell you that.
I know, I wouldn't be happy either, don't get me wrong.
That's not happening, don't do that.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I would be very mad at myself too.
Yeah, don't do that. I will snitch to your girlfriend.
No, and you know, you'd be right to. You would be
That's
right
an
to.
instant snitch.
She would be so mad at me too.
Yeah, rightfully.
Yeah. We do have fun here.
We do have fun. Man, does that look so cool.
Yeah, I really like how this turned out too. This is also when I broke out the knife for the first time. One of the things that I wanted to do, I'm doing the whiteout first here, is kind of push back the smoke a bit so that it wasn't competing with the character. Again, we talked about this in the Pontiff video of making sure things don't compete with each other, so pushing things forward, pushing things back. The way I did it for this one was trying to cut up the lines a bit so that they almost looked a little grayer.
Yeah.
Adding also this whiteout effect too. Now here comes the knife.
See, you were sitting around doing nothing while he studied the blade.
It's true. This is an old technique too, actually. A lot of cartoonists would use this for whenever they wanted to do cool effects for like, you know, action lines or for...
Yeah, there's some stuff like this in Soul Eater, right?
Yeah.
Also,
for
where
Soul
the page is all cut up.
Yeah, Soul Eater did that a lot. It's so that you can get cool textures and cool... Like, I know that Soul Eater did that one because it gave off a feeling of unease, unsettling. For this case, though, it's not supposed to be about feeling uneasy. It's just supposed to make it so that you, like, the smoke feels more cut up.
But it's cool that you can use a similar technique to get different results.
Exactly.
That's part of being an artist.
Yeah. One of the things, too, is it's mainly because I also went and tried to keep it all in a similar direction. Also, it's not like, what's the word? Like, because with the Soul Eater, if you wanted to get the feeling of unease, it's more sporadic and random.
I get what you're saying now.
And then also the subject matter on this is fire, whereas opposed to in the subject matter in Soul Eater, it's usually faces.
Yeah.
And faces being cut up and looking like, you know, random and like that. Just, that does not bode well for you. That makes you feel uneasy because you're
Yeah.
seeing like faces and stuff and not in a very good light.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for the hair portion, the curls and the smoke in the hair, I wanted to use the regular brush I usually use, just so that effect that it kept the like a more consistent line weight. Whereas with the fire smoke, I wanted it to be a bit more out there, so you can like get the feeling of it being more alive, that sort of thing. You want a bit more of a dead line whenever it comes to things that are inanimate.
Okay.
Whenever something wants to feel more alive, you have a lot more varied line weights, things like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. A lot of people talk about that with like dead weights. If you want like really good dead weights for any of your lines, if you're doing buildings, things like that. A lot of people used to use things called rapidograph pens, and they're like microns, but they're much more delicate because they break really easily.
Oh, okay.
Because so the way let me pull up micron real quick for this. So the way a rapidograph is the ink inside of it's kind of the same way, but in here there's a little nib, a little bit. It's like a small little like metal iron rod, and it keeps it so that it keeps the ink flowing out steadily.
Oh.
So that no matter what angle you have it at, it'll always keep the same line width.
Oh,
but
that's cool.
that shit is annoying because first of all it's expensive because they're old-fashioned pens, and they used to be used for architecture. Two, if that little iron rod breaks,
you're done.
You're done, and you can't use much pressure on it either.
Okay.
So you have to have a lot of different variations of the rapidograph pens. I had a professor who had a lot of them, and watching him use it, I was like, I'm never using this,
right?
Because that is too much pressure. Because that shit's expensive, and I personally don't like deadlines.
Okay.
That's why I also end up going more towards brush at the end of the day. I just still do nib pen every once in a while. And the only reason I don't like it because
the handing. No, stop that.
It hurts the hand because I always have to hold it a little too tight. With brush, I can hold it a little less tightly and still get really thick lines.
Let's talk some about these weapons. This is this axe that you're working on, and this one is really cool. I like this one. When we were designing it, it's meant to be like, this one is culturally important to this specific culture, so it's got a bit of a dragon shape. Later you'll see there's some dragon imagery in the blade itself. And then what's really cool is they use the blood of these dragons for different things, and it's not in this picture, but it'll be in another one. There's a little thing with a vial of blood in it.
Yes, it's near the base of this map,
and
so you
like,
can't see. And that
can react.
That was actually purposely left out of this image, just so that it'd be like something that'd be a surprise in the later image. A lot of the things too that I try to think about whenever I'm designing pictures is what to withhold and what to give you. So right now you see a cool looking axe, but you don't see the base of the axe.
Yeah, it has an extra bit of it.
Yeah, the magic in it.
But I like telling people stuff in the video because it gives them a reward for watching it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, the blood can like ignite the blade like in the heat of battle, because it's like how a chemical can rise up a test tube from being like heated.
For sure.
So it's really cool.
We always like to make the joke that it was kind of like that the Bankai from the dude from Ikaku's Bankai.
Oh yeah.
Is that like the dragon thing, the more it like did hits and stuff like that?
Yeah.
We're not fans of Bleach, but we did like Bleach when it was good.
Bleach was good when it was good.
It was good when
Bleach
it was
good when it was good. Part of knowing your tastes is acknowledging what parts of the things you like are bad.
Yes.
And
acknowledging what parts were good.
Yes, you have to learn to be objective. So.
No.
Yeah.
Especially when you're stealing.
Yeah. There's also a bunch of just really cool looking knives and spears and a bunch of stuff like that. Right, we wanted to have
some generic weapons in here mixed in, just so the fact that you could see that they had worked on other things as well, not just the legendary weapons. Plus, also, I feel like it adds a bit more to the piece itself to have more generic things. Again, that helps also the viewer latch onto a picture so they can know, oh, this is a generic weapon too, so like, okay, now I understand what all these other things are supposed to be.
Yeah, and a lot of them are spears and stuff too, because this culture, when they fight these lizards, you don't want to like go up on this thing with a sword.
No, not really.
A lot of their weapons are more long distance, like they're mounted archers and they have spears and things like that for taking these dragons down, and they're made from their teeth because those are easier to use.
Right.
Stuff like that. Teeth, bones. They actually use the organs to make like a cloth armor, and it's as hard as metal.
Right.
So there's a bunch of really cool stuff. Oh, and this sword is sweet
Yeah, the sword is another sword that comes up a lot. Again, I kind of hate it a bit, not just because of the fact that I like the idea of you seeing just a small part of it and reversing, show what you wanted to show and hide what you want to hide, so that the viewer can come back to it later and realize what it was.
Mm-hmm.
It's also just because it didn't really fit with the composition, because the sword is very bulky in terms of its shape, and it just doesn't flow as well as all these other shapes do. I mean, sure, we have an axe here that's pretty bulky, but it still flows with the composition pretty nicely, whereas with this sword it would not. But again...
Plus the hilt and the pommel and stuff are the very recognizable parts of this sword. That'll probably be in a few more pieces, versus the only one piece where it's unsheathed.
Pretty much, yeah.
So...
again, we want to also have a sense when you're doing an illustration of storytelling, and I feel like the best parts of storytelling is when you give the reader
just enough,
and knowing how much to give them is always a really good sign of knowing, what's the difference between a good storyteller and a bad storyteller.
And another thing about some of these weapons is you actually don't know how large they are.
Exactly, because some of these ones. The only reason they're this size is because of the illustration, but the actual size of them probably will be revealed whenever they get a person actually next to them.
This one's pretty cool. This is a glaive that has a butterfly shape on it and things like that. It's based on there's a sword, I think, or a spear or something.
It's a spear.
That has it says when it swung it has a rainbow when it swings, so that's why it also has that ribbon on it. Stuff like that.
What else was there? Oh, because we were talking about good storytelling as well.
Yeah.
That reminds me, because we just recently watched a film, Deep Red.
That was Deep Red, yeah.
That was something that kind of reminded me of what makes good storytelling with a big reveal or mystery and elements and things like that to a world. Is you want also your big reveals to be what's the word? Foreshadowed in a way, but at the same time you want it to keep the reader guessing.
Yes.
But at the same time it needs to be something that was
there before. There has to be a little bit of a seed.
Thank you. Because what I was referring to is whenever you have with those types of movies where there's a killer and you're trying to figure out who the killer is. If the killer was some rando character that you just now or was just there for one scene, and you're like, oh, remember that pizza delivery dude from the very beginning?
Yeah,
that's
the Law and Order principle.
Yeah.
Where it's always the guest character.
Yeah, it's always the guest character.
Yeah.
So you're like, and that's boring. So, but you want to be able to give little bits of breadcrumbs and make the big reveal satisfying in a lot of ways. This world has a bit of that element of mystery to it, but not nearly on that level of,
it's because there's not a full-on
plot.
Traditional plot with characters. This is a setting that we're working on mostly, for the most part. It's
for
just about setting and design and things like that. So, because it originally started, he's like, I just want to draw a bunch of cool knights.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's fun, but it's a little boring.
Yeah, and then I came to I did come to you with a proposal that there was a world and a plot to go with this.
Yeah, so then we got to that, and that's how we're getting to these things.
Because the real reason that it came up to be me wanting to have a plot is because I had some D&D characters that were knights, and I was like, well, I've got these, and all the characters that I had slewed out, I was like, well, they all have stories. Might as well try to get their stories built into this world.
Oh, okay.
In some form or fashion. And trying to think about how those stories would actually work in this setting.
Yeah. This scythe is really cool, too.
Yeah, this is I actually like this, because the design for this scythe actually took a little bit longer, mainly because we were trying to figure out a good compromise on it, because, we talk about, generic weapons and stuff like that, and scythes usually come up a lot, and I always get really kind of bored, I guess, whenever a scythe comes up, because you see it all the time, and you want to do something unique with it. So I was proposing we try to take the original concept of a scythe, from ancient Egypt, because those ones are actually just little...
Well, that's different. That's...
Yeah,
it looks a lot different.
Yeah, it looks a lot different, but again, I'm talking about how we can...
and you wanted to stick it on a pole arm, and I'm like, we already got, a glaive. That's basically the same thing.
Yeah, it's a glaive, yeah. So what we did was we kind of did it so it could be multifaceted. And that's why it has that skull handle on there as well. is something that could be like, come off the blade as well.
Yeah, if you needed to. It'd be weird to wield that as a sword. Maybe it like shifts around in it.
Yeah.
Probably. It would have to shift around. But its design is really cool. So it's got a shooting star on it, and we stole the trigger star, obviously. The trigger cross.
Of course.
And you can see some of them right there, and there'll be more drawn. There are like skulls etched in it. And so the more kills you get with it, like it fills up with blood.
Yeah.
Up the skulls, and it becomes more powerful. And it'll like just like feeds into the bloodthirst of the user. It's like crazy like that.
Yeah, as we get a little closer, you can see.
Yeah, I imagine like the blade becomes red and all the eyeballs on the skulls light up.
Yeah,
and stuff like
that'd be
that.
sick. Yeah,
it'll look really cool.
But again, yeah, I do like the ideas of weapons that kind of change into other weapons that like shift. We have another weapon.
Ideas of like living weapons, weapons that kind of have an ability that is based on something happening in real life.
Yeah.
You know?
Because we have another weapon that's not shown in this picture just because of the fact the way it's designed just doesn't work for this composition.
Yeah, no way.
But it's another one of those weapons that's a changing kind of weapon that kind of moves around and is used, has a different utility to it.
Yeah.
This is another one that's like a trident. This one we used mainly trying to figure out like, what kind of bones like would make.
Yeah, there's a weapon made from the bones of a sea monster.
Yeah.
And so we thought, what would look really cool. And you had a design similar to this in a very old illustration.
Yeah, from like 2013.
Yeah, something like that, like close to a decade now.
Yeah. Holy shit, yeah, it is closer to a decade from 2013 to now.
So we gotta update it.
That's a weird thought. I don't like that thought.
You'll get used to it when you get older.
That's true.
Don't worry about it. America's too youth obsessed.
Right?
They don't have experience.
Well, it's because America's such a young country.
That's true, I guess, compared to everywhere else.
Yeah, we're still very young, and we're still going to probably fade out much faster than every other country.
Yeah.
Alright, and that's it for the line art. Me going in to get the signature hidden in there. And now we get to the fun part of me working on the light table. You can see my lovely dad bod in this shot here.
It's true. There's no way to edit that gut out. It's just too much. Can't mask it, can't do anything. Is that how you're going to edit it out?
Yeah, it's going to sit like this.
Yeah. Okay, hey, that'll get you ripped, though. That's like the Shaman King air chair.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do.
Honestly, I bet you, I don't know if you could hear it in the video, but
that was an insane bone pop.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, the quarantine has not been kind to my body.
That's funny.
But yeah, so this one is watercolored. I tried to keep it a little lighter on the, what's the word? Like, whenever I usually do these, there's only like an in-between. There's no really in-between. I either try to color in the lines or I just kind of color out the lines. And this one felt like it wanted to be out the lines, mainly just because of the fact it's fire, so the color...
Yeah, fire's like raging.
Yeah, and you can't control it really.
No way.
So trying to incorporate that kind of feeling into it.
That's also part of the piece, is like passion and, focusing it and things like that. I'll restart the camera in 2 seconds, right? You can't stop it. You got to dedicate yourself to a craft.
Yeah.
It's the only way to focus it.
For sure. And, and then we get the blue powder.
Obviously the blue powder. Like, it's not a piece without blue powder. That's it. We're going to have a blue powder emote in the chat at some point, for sure. Once we can get emotes.
I mean, there have been people who were putting, when I did that when I was doing the watercolor for Higgs.
They threw the salt emote.
Yeah, they threw, a lot of people were throwing the salt emote, because it's not blue powder, it's salt.
Yeah. We're going to make it blue salt.
Sure, man.
Tahitian blue salt.
Sure, man, whatever. To you. So yeah, this one also I tried also to make sure that the watercolor itself gave off the light. So I was also trying to use the white of the page a lot to make sure that we weren't losing any of that effect, things like that. Because I really want the blade on this one to look like it's glowing.
Yeah.
And I think the watercolor itself got a lot of it. However, doing during the digital is when we really fixed it up.
Yeah, for sure. The digital looks great on this.
Yeah, I do try to like blend a lot of the traditional elements with the digital elements, and I think it makes a pretty good piece usually most of the time. It's usually pretty seamless too. You can hardly ever tell that any of it's digital. Usually. Yeah,
this just looks amazing. You did such a good job on this one. The watercolor looks really good.
Yeah. Because again, a lot of I kind of equate to the doing. See, I can see that the light table's been turned off a bit here.
Mm-hmm.
And I equate a lot of the success to this piece of just kind of like going after I gained the basic shape of it, not really being strained by the actual line art.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially for this one too, because most of the coloring on the weapons is done digitally.
Yeah.
And back to the blue powder.
Because the focus is on the fire.
Yeah. The passions of the creation, things like that. And now I go in with some green here. The reason I chose some green colors and some blues is...
that's their colors also.
That too, but not the main reason was because red and green are complementary colors. Usually we associate it with Christmas, but they just really go well together. A lot of people actually, and another reason I chose green, because the people in that culture used a lot of green. Also because green and red being complementary, it makes you think of summer.
Yeah, you're right.
Watermelon, things like that. So
definitely.
And then making the skin dark because again you're in a really dark, your skin's probably gonna look a little red being next to all that fire.
Fire, yeah. It reflects the light.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does look really cool. I like the way that eye came out. It looks very Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
But like in the best way.
You're right. And then we had some blue here because again.
Zoom in a bit more. Yeah. I usually keep it kind of far out when he's painting because I never know what he's gonna do. But
for this
I
one,
probably asked him, "Are you done with the top?"
And I said, "Yeah," because again, this is mostly on the character now.
Yeah.
And the blue here is used for good shading. As well, because blue is a good opposite to the orange that's in this picture as well.
Yeah, actually, if you just Google, you can Google like blue and orange movie posters or something. It's horrendously overused.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. It was very common. I know there was a point where it was horrendously overused. I think in the late 2000s.
That sounds about
early
right.
2010s.
Because I can think of all those like
it was very overused.
Like those Indiana Jones posters are all very orange and blue.
Yeah. No, there's a bunch of other ones. This light is like me annoying. We still don't know how to light anything. But yeah, no, orange and blue are very overused in movie posters. It's pretty cool to go look at. It's just because it's a very lazy, like easily known color combination that works together.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could see that.
I'll probably bring up a couple in this video so that people can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They'll be appearing right now. And now. You can't see them. We're doing a hand motion and I'm putting it over my face. Ooh. But, so.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, color theory is pretty interesting, actually.
It is. Especially when it comes to what colors make you feel certain things.
Oh, I know, right?
And then after that, we kind of went to the digital.
Suddenly digital. Now, I'll put a little transition in.
Yeah.
I thought about doing it before we did this, and then I just got lazy.
That's understandable.
So, it'll be added afterwards. You won't tell in the video. But I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
So.
This part is always fun to do, is getting the line art.
Trying to match it up.
Yeah, this one was pretty easy again because the coloring, as I said, was a bit more, loose.
Yeah.
Compared to most of the pieces. And then going in and making sure that the color was a bit more poppy. I believe I do that at some point. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I know. I saw you turn the lines to like a red or something, or orangish color.
So that was
explain that.
Sure, that's when you go into line art and you want to get rid of all the blue pencil or the red pencil, things like that. You'll go into you'll make sure that the image is CMYK, and then you go into the curves and then mess with the outputs for cyan and magenta. So that's all that's left is the yellow and the K. And then you could go down into the channels, grab the K, which is black. So that grabs everything that's just black in your image. You select it, move it over to a new canvas, and then it'll come out as a little bit gray.
Oh, okay.
The way you fix that is you just paint bucket, as you saw, black over the entire canvas, and then change that black into an overlay layer.
Oh,
and then what it'll do is mix all the whites show through, and then the black will just stay there over top, and then just merge visible, and then you've got your line art layer.
That's a pretty cool little trick.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like a good little tutorial video too.
Yep, we'll get there.
Yeah. So this is where you're going over all the weapons.
Yes, and I chose blue as an initial color, again, because blue complements the oranges in this a lot, and there's a lot of orange in here. But as I go along, I kind of realize that it's a bit more yellow than it is orange, so we do change the color of this to match.
The coloring and like the weapons were the hardest part of this.
Yes.
That's what ended up taking us forever.
Because we wanted to make sure that while it was, visible,
Mm-hmm.
we wanted it to still blend and not detract from the character that was down below. You want everything to be harmonious, and your eyes want to be able to wander through the picture, and so you can see everything just nicely. But yeah, it was hard in the sense of getting the color right, but yeah, because see, like right now, we're like, that doesn't look good.
Yeah, that's not working.
Yeah, because the reason I chose blue also as well, because the character herself had some blue shading and things like that. So basically, now it's just me trying to figure out some textures and things like that to add to the weapons. I believe I know. I think I go with the blood-stained looking one because, again, these weapons are made from blood and organs.
Made from, like the heart of a... It's kind of like a dragon, but it's not a dragon.
Yeah, and then there's rust effect added for like a metal look to it. And then we got that. And then I was like, oh, that looks cool. And then...
we started messing with it.
Yeah, it was a lot of messing with this stuff.
That was the hardest part, was messing with these weapons.
Yeah, because we didn't want it to be too dark like that. So we were like, oh, that's too dark. And it's like, okay, let's grab another image here real quick. That's when I decided to go with the blood stain, because I was like, okay, specifically that scythe is also very much
blood powered.
And then same with the axe being blood powered. So we're like, okay, well, blood would probably be the best choice for this. And then it was just messing with it from there and trying to get a good color to go with it. Now you can just see me going over here and just being like, the fuck color do I use?
Click, yeah. That really was the hardest part of this.
Yeah, because if you look at legit, every single aspect of the illustration is done.
Yeah,
except
just trying to figure out what color and how to like the shading kind of thing.
Yeah,
techniques like that.
It's a bit of a pill, but we got there eventually. I think it's because we went with the purple. Because purple again being complementary, and it also works well because if you look at the stone that the person is working on, it's also the same color of a kind of bluish purple that we end up going with. So what I do now though is I go and keep it white for now, and so I can get all the multiply and all the texture and the tones in there, so I can at least see what I'm doing that way. Then I'll go back in and try and mess with the color, because again, whenever you get stuck on something, you're like, okay, I'm stuck on this. We'll just ignore it for now. We've got everything separated. I'm just gonna go do the lighting and the shading and all that stuff, and then we'll come back to it and figure out what color it needs to be after that. All that matters right now is making sure that it looks correct in terms of where it needs to be. And
throw on some more shading, it looks like.
Yeah, this is the gradients. I'm actually adding gradients so that it also looks like it is in the picture. So you see those yellow gradients and things like that. I'm also adding some texture and color around it so that, again, it all kind of blends together for the most part. I believe I might have done a little bit of some dodge and color burn tool at the very end.
Yeah, I know that comes in towards the end.
So I get a little circle here, so that again, your eye does the spiral effect.
Yeah, there's about a couple minutes left on the video. But...
yeah, I think this is the part where we figure out that it needs to be just a little bit darker on these weapons.
Yeah.
And we go with the purple.
Because they're still being lost.
Yeah.
In the fire a little bit too much, I think.
Right, because we want them to be able to be seen, but because right now you can't see them at all. It's a jumbled mess. And you're like, what am I looking at? You want there to be at least some clarity in this type of illustration work. And that's me going in with like some of the little dots of little color here and there to try to get the shadows and all this other stuff around it working. But then, we do kind of nail it whenever we figure out, oh, it needs to be purple.
Yeah, right. It's getting close to the end, and I'm getting nervous, wondering if I had all the videos for this, because all of a sudden now I'm like, did he go back and do that at the very end? Let's see.
Who knows?
Who knows? It wouldn't be the first time. That's the beauty of live TV.
All right. We do everything live here.
Right?
Fucking thing sucks.
Yeah, it's been a bit since I looked through this, but it looks really good. It just shows you how much stuff pops up at the last minute sometimes, where I'm like, I can't remember if that's in this video.
I'm going to build around this real quick. Right. Yeah, I think another thing I did too is I made the background a little bit more pronounced as well, because you can see here.
Yeah, there we go. This is where we got to it.
Yeah, see now how it's becoming a bit more dark, and now you can see there's a little bit of the blues, and now it's much more purple. Yeah. So now you can actually see what we're doing.
My fears are being alleviated by the second. Although it's pretty close to the end. Yeah,
but I mean, that's pretty much what made it so that it would worked a bit better in terms of how the illustration looks. And then, there we are.
Yeah, look at that. Should start saving, and I think we'll be done.
Oh, no, wait.
Hold on.
No, I think it was us checking to see if there was anything wrong.
Yeah, right.
I was like, wait, why is it still going?
Yeah, tell me about it.
But no, apparently we were just checking to see if anything
I'm
was
pretty
okay.
sure that was done.
Yeah, that was actually how it looked.
Yeah, that's how it looks, yeah.
Yeah. So we got the final picture here, pictured off to the...
Somewhere up this way.
This direction, yeah.
This direction.
Yeah.
Point.
I was like, my right, y'all's left, who knows?
Yeah, who knows. Snagglepuss will figure it out.
Yeah.
Stage left, even.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Yeah. Rip.
Oh, man.
He's not dead, but you know.
No one remembers his character.
Exactly. So he might as well be dead. He's died the true death.
Right, died the true death. Well, not yet, because I remember him.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So that's funny.
But yeah, no, this is one of my... I think this is my first favorite or second favorite out of all the things we've done.
Okay, I really like it a lot. Not just because I came up with the initial design, but that's mostly it.
Maybe, again, it's like, there's a lot of ones I really like in this series.
Yeah,
so
they're
I'm
all really cool. I can't wait for all these to be done.
Yeah, I'm a little biased in which ones I liked and which ones I didn't like. But yeah, I think I like this one the most, mainly just because one of the reasons I like it so much is because it's mainly just traditional. With a very small hint of digital help. That's probably why I also like the Unworthy one.
Yeah, that one's really cool. That'll be the next one.
Yeah,
that I'm
that's the
gonna
next
make a video
one.
for.
So for our next one is much more traditional, and pretty much didn't have to do as much like any digital aspects to it. I believe the digital portion is like
it's mostly matching it up, and I think you move some things around.
Yeah, to make it so that it matches up a bit better, and then you know, doing the layering effects and all that stuff. But yeah, again, like that one didn't nearly take as long digital. It was much more traditional, and I used a lot of old tools that I didn't get to use as much. And, like that's another reason why I like this one so much too, is that I got to use some of the old tricks and tools that I don't usually get to use whenever I'm doing mostly just digital coloring and things like that.
All right.
But
well, I guess we're going to wrap this up. So we'll be back next week with another piece.
Yep.
Check us out wherever you're watching this at, whether it's YouTube, Patreon. If you're watching this on YouTube and you want to see all our videos when they come out, go to Patreon. Patrons get them a week early.
Yep, and it only costs $1.
Just $1
to get these videos early.
Throw us a quick buck.
You get to also participate in our monthly Patreon polls, where I do a stream of the art chosen by the patrons.
It's true.
So rate, comment, subscribe, follow us on our...
Check us out on Twitch, Mondays and Thursdays.
Yep.
We might also add a Saturday stream onto that, maybe.
Maybe.
Saturdays are looking a little empty so far.
Yeah.
Let us know if you guys want an extra stream.
Because, yeah, it all kind of depends, too, on how long this quarantine lasts.
Yeah.
If because next week also is when I find out whether or not I'm going back to my usual job.
That's true, yeah.
If the quarantine does extend, we might just do 3 streams a week. If the quarantine... ends, I can still do 3 streams a week. I'll just probably be a lot more grumpy.
Okay. He's already pretty grumpy, so there's not much more room to grump.
It's true.
So.
But, I think, I could probably do 2 or 3 streams. I just don't want it to get in the way of all the other stuff. I know that there's one Thursday a month, if we do go to this new schedule, I can't do.
Okay.
So that'd be fine. I do 3 streams a week and then 2 streams every once a month. But yeah, we'll see what we can do.
All right.
Well, we'll catch you on the flip side. Thank you all for coming out.
Stay safe on the journey out there. And how should we end this? That's really dumb.
My knees.